If you've ever thought about building more than one thing in this industry, you're in the right place. Today I'm talking with Debbie, a costume designer and dance instructor, about what it really takes to run two businesses, how diversifying worked for her, and how she knew when it was time to slow one down. Let's get into it. If you're a dance or fitness instructor who wants to grow your classes, boost income, and turn your passion into a real business, you're in the right place. Each week, I'll share the exact strategies, lessons, and truth smacks from building a thriving belly dance fitness brand. We'll dive into what actually fills classes and keeps students coming back so that you can build a profitable instructor career. So, lace up those sneakers and pull on those dance shoes. It's time to build the business you deserve. I'm Orit, and welcome to Dance Fit Biz Builders. Hello and welcome to Dance Fit Biz Builders. I'm Orit, your host, and I'm super excited. And I know I always say that on every episode, but I truly mean that I'm super excited. Today, I am honored. I have the privilege to have this wonderful guest. Her name is Debbie Despina, and she is Greek, American Greek, and she's a plethora of knowledge, both in her heritage, her culture, in dance, and a plethora of knowledge in the business of dance. And this is why we're all here listening today. So, Debbie Despina, welcome to the Dance Fit Biz Builders podcast.
Hi, Orit, and hello, everyone. I am honored to be here. I'm a huge fan of yours, and I love following your podcast and reading your beautiful email newsletter and your articles. I'm always learning so much from you. So thank you for having me here. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you, and my pleasure. All right. So, first of all, Debbie, well, she'll talk about it, but she's an amazing dancer. She's an amazing teacher. She is a student, and she is an apparel designer. So, Debbie, when did you know you wanted to go into business as a teacher? First of all, as a designer.
Okay. Well, I just assumed since I was little that would always be my job because my mom is a designer too. I'm a second generation designer. And my mom went to design school when I was little. So I remember playing underneath the pattern making table. I remember hanging out in the closet with the fabrics. It was something that I knew that this is what I should be doing. And the thing is, I loved what my mom was doing, and I admired her as a designer, and I just knew that was the path that I was going to follow.
And I'm curious, what did she design?
She designed evening wear. So when we moved to Greece, she opened up a boutique, and we had that family-owned business. And my dad helped pretty much set up the boutique because he was a licensed electrician, and so and very handy, and he did pretty much everything to set up the boutique. And my mom did pattern making, design. We always had sewing operators that worked under us. We had industrial machines, and she would do custom made evening wear. And then she would have some designs that you could purchase, ready to wear. But she was mainly designed evening wear. Yeah, and I was always her personal assistant. So I did everything. I assisted with pattern making, with cutting, with organizing the store. I helped customers out. Later on, I would do the window displays too, and I cleaned. I did. That's something important to mention. We did everything. So instead of the Saturday morning cartoons, it was Saturday morning working at the boutique. And I've never felt any how can I say this? I never felt bad about it. It's just something that I did, and I really loved.
When did you start your own apparel business?
This is very interesting. So this was actually a hobby, right? So I left Greece. I came here to study fashion design and pattern making at FIT, and I ended up specializing in intimate apparel design. So I did pattern making, and I ended up working in the industry. I worked at Warner's. I worked at Hanes.
Oh.
And yeah, so I was a intimate apparel designer. What I designed for the mass market.
Oh,
So it's funny because now I may push out like 20 pants, right? And and when I worked in the industry, it would be initial pipe would be 300,000 units, right? So huge difference, right?
yes.
But I also wasn't doing everything, right? There I worked with people that handled accounting, this, that, sewing, so yeah. So then I started dancing while I was working in the industry. I was working corporate, and I got hooked. I know I was just like, oh my goodness, what is this? I need more of it, right? I started taking belly dance classes, and I just wanted more. And then when I discovered Mimi Fontana, I was like, wow, this is my teacher and this is who I want to study with. And I will be in every single class that you teach. And something I noticed something that people were struggling to find dancewear in their sizes. I also realized that it's an investment. Anything you spend money on, you're investing, right? So my whole my whole thought process was like, well, how can I make some things, number one, in all sizes, right? And then make something that people can just enjoy to wear in general, right? So I started making something that many people did, right? Layering skirts. Yeah,
Hmm.
I started making layering skirts, and then I was taking small orders on like accessories, like these belts with fringe on, and people were getting excited. So then from that, then I ended up making, you know, pantaloons. This is really funny. The first pantaloons that I made for the troop from Manhattan Tribal, they were made out of like skirt lining. That's like they did their job or whatever, but they were so like, it was out of necessity. And I remember the whole group came to my apartment. Like they were, I had a roommate at that time, so we're all squished in one room. And I taught one of them to work the overlock machine, and another one was doing this, and the other one was doing the elastics. Yeah. So it pretty much started out of necessity. I wanted to help the group that I was in, and I think I just started doing it and not calling it a business, even though I grew up in that business. So I went on autopilot. It just happened. It just
Yeah.
started to,
To
yeah,
build over time.
to build. And when I saw that people were happy, then I started creating more. I started dancing more and creating more. And then I realized I didn't want to work in the industry anymore.
Why
I
is
didn't
that?
want to. Well, being innovative was a problem.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. And my biggest thing is because I specialized in full figure and full busted bra design, right? And also like lingerie, like in general, like I would work on shapewear. But my dream was to come up with a solution for full busted and full figure women and people in general that wear bras, right? Right.
Mm.
I wanted to create items that were meant to be seen. And this was a while ago, right? And I was also functioning very much as a trend forecaster in the industry.
Oh.
I was on WGSN constantly. Any work trips we took overseas, and we went to the shows in Paris, and we traveled to we traveled to, to the big department stores in the UK, here, that. I was like a sponge. I was taking things in. And I knew that we were heading towards a certain direction where everybody will be wearing something where your intimates were meant to be seen. Open backs, open side tops, lower necklines. And my ultimate goal was for everybody to be able to wear what they needed to have their support, but to not be wearing something that looks like a functional bra. I felt like everybody deserved that, no matter their size.
And were you able to make it?
Well, I presented like a lot of this work and a lot of these prototypes, along with working on other styles too, because I was designing for, in general, like other styles and fitting and working with fit models. And but when it came to like the research I was doing and what I was trying to develop, I was told that we are not a me first company, we're a me too. So even though they loved my concepts, my ideas, and the what I was presenting could be like, it could be like accomplished, and but then they didn't want to take a risk. They
Oh.
didn't want to take a risk because other people needed to come out with that product first, and then they would take the risk after. That's why they said we're me too, number two.
Ah.
hmm We will take the risk after another company takes the risk. And I was really disappointed. And then I also noticed that fun things that I was creating, like for the dance world, was being, like the my designs were being perceived in such a positive way. And I also felt like I wouldn't be able to do everything.
This is a lot. Wait, hold on. So, like, you decided you wanted to quit corporate. Like, when was that?
Oh. This was around 2007, I think.
And was the time when you were getting some positive feedback on your belly dance apparel?
Yes.
At what year did you decide to stop corporate and go all in with this belly dance apparel?
I believe it was around 2007 and 8. It was around the same time. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I opened up my Etsy store. I think it was 2008. This was it's something that I realized that I really wanted to do, but I don't think I was ready. I definitely wasn't ready business-wise to like quit my corporate job and start the business,
Okay.
you
When
know.
do you think you were ready to quit?
I think I would have given it more time. I think I would have taken some classes when it comes to managing my finances.
Mm.
I think I would have spent more time understanding, like when it comes to like accounting and what my proper markup should have been. I was always somebody that I was driven by what I feel people will be happy with, the pricing that they'll be happy with, how much are they spending with other people. And
Mm.
sometimes the examples we take, like especially when we're in a community like this, maybe other people are doing this just as a hobby and they're not charging as much as they should, and it's okay
Right.
for them to charge what they are.
I see.
So, so I made a lot of mistakes early on. So,
So you made a lot of mistakes charging what you're worth, correct?
yes.
Okay. Which is fine. I mean, everyone makes those mistakes, especially early on, right? When you feel like, oh,
hmm
I'm just getting my feet wet, I kind of want to get known and get my stuff out there and people to buy. But hold up. You started your apparel business. Dude, what did you do? How did you register your business? Did you trademark? Did you
Oh, yeah.
copyright? What?
I registered my business. My husband and I moved into this duplex apartment in Astoria. So I created a small design area in the downstairs, which this is where I am right now. And I just registered the name and I went through it. We started doing small photo shoots here. And I started with making pantaloons for dancers because I was very much in the fat chance belly dance like community, right? Because that's the dance that I did for a really long time. And I started with making pantaloons, layering items, and then costume bras too. Yeah, and then a little bit at a time, the collection started growing, and then my mom we started collaborating. My mom and I have created like most of the collection together because she's
Wow.
an amazing pattern maker. Yes, yes. So she's a huge part of what I do.
Okay, so now you have this apparel business, you quit your corporate. Like,
hmm
did you know what is the sequence of events you had to do to establish your business? Like, who did you have a mentor or did you just follow someone that you really loved?
I didn't have a mentor. I didn't. Like I was lucky to be able to have these conversations with my husband because he used to have his own business and he used to import and sell icons, Greek icons actually. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he did this for a little while. And so he was very helpful, but I didn't have a mentor.
Hmm.
And I just learned the more involved I was, I just learned, as the years went by. And what I wanted to start doing wholesale
Mm.
and I wanted to get into the market of like, to be able to sell to smaller boutiques and not just the belly dance world because my whole idea, my whole like thought concept was for things to be worn from the dance floor to the streets.
And they are.
Right? Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Because I wear it
Yeah.
like that. That's what I do.
Yes. Represent.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So next thing you know, that I'm okay. We went from this festival. Like I ended up vending at Spring Caravan, but I felt like I came into a very weird time, in the belly dance world. So because something started slowing down, right? I do have to mention that I had some great collaborations with dancers. Like I created the official ITS, previously known as, so it's Jam Pant, which was the official pant that Amy Sigil's improv dancers would wear.
Love it.
Yeah, so there are dancers that have this design that we work together. That they're dancers that have it that are all over.
It's
Not just
great.
all over the country, but internationally. I also designed for the Salampur collectives internationally. Hmm.
Amazing.
Yeah, and I've had dancers that Carolina Narecchio, when she opened up her boutique, she placed a wholesale order and had my accessories in her boutique. Yeah, I'm so thankful for it. Sometimes I feel like sometimes I need to just make an old fashioned and sit down and just kind of think about who has worn my designs on stage, and oh my goodness, and Dahlia, I've designed for Dahlia, and I've designed for some of her really creative projects. All this was just pretty amazing, and
Yeah.
I felt like I was just growing. I do need to let you know that everything I have produced has been solely made in New York City. I've never made anything overseas. I've always supported local sewing operators, production rooms. Everything has been made either in a production room here in New York City or in-house. And right now
Wonderful.
everything is made in-house.
Despina, you know what I love
Yes.
about you is that because we have a lot of listeners here who really are nervous about making teaching, making dancing, whatever type of teaching and dancing it is, their livelihood. What I
Mm-hmm.
love about your story is that you did it anyway. You're like,
Mm-hmm.
you figured it out. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you just quit your job, you registered your business, and you just kind of learned along the way. And there's no answer in how to do it. I think you just got
Mm-hmm.
to do it and figure it out. Am I correct
Yes.
in that?
Yes, you are.
Oh,
But some things, I did a couple things that ended up helping me find my teaching voice.
so let's talk about that. So you were
Yes.
a designer, and then you got
Yes.
into teaching. Let's talk about your journey with that.
So I started teaching actually around 8 or 9 years ago. I did the Fat Chance Belly Dance certification. So I realized that after years of representing that style, that I wanted to teach. And my main goal wasn't to teach independently. I wanted to teach under my teacher. I wanted her school to grow. I wanted Manhattan Tribal to grow. I wanted to be able to represent. That unfortunately didn't happen under Mimi. And then at some point, the troop and 10 years later, which is amazing that this group lasted for over 10 years. It's amazing, right? Mimi decided to take a different direction. And I pretty much was left without a dance home, like a lot of the dancers that I dance with too. But I lucked out because I found a Irina Ballerina. That's her nickname,
Mhm.
and she pretty much started the same way I did, right? And her dance journey, and then found the Salampur umbrella. So she did Fat Chance belly dance style, and then went into the Salampur school. So I found out that she's teaching literally 3 blocks away from me. Like I could
Oh,
walk. I could walk.
great.
So I joined her and I started taking her classes, and I started teaching Fat Chance style in that studio. And my dance partner, Kate Reed, joined me. So she would come and teach classes with me, or I would teach by myself. We also taught Fat Chance style with our troop member, Naja, like in the city, Maria Richardson. So it felt comfortable teaching that style because I did the teacher training and because I represented that style for a lengthy amount of time.
Hmm.
But when it came to other classes, this is where things got a little interesting because Irina started having babies and she needed help and somebody needed to sub her classes. And I studied with her a lot and I was very much influenced by the Salampur method she was teaching. So when I got into that classroom, I started creating more fusion work for for the students, and that's where I found my voice. There were a lot of questions that I had because I didn't have I didn't have a training in the Salampur school. I didn't do the teacher training yet, but I was taking the week longs, the weekend workshops when Suhaila would come here. I was studying with Irina. I would not recommend doing that. I would recommend going through the whole training because the structure that you get is incredible, you know. But at that time we needed to function. And so I was teaching a medley of what I was learning. One thing that helped me, I was under two schools where the priority was to keep the dancers safe and to create that structure. So I was pulling in that information and utilizing it in the classes that I had to sub. At that time, I didn't have the feeling that this is a job for me. I'm only allowed to do this if I finish my design work. If I do this and that, like it's almost like a privilege to be able to do it. It didn't seem like something that I could do professionally.
Why?
It's kind of like with the arts. It's like people are like, "Oh, why are you doing this?" A lot of people say that, right? "Oh, you're teaching dance?" Like it's kind of like there's a question mark there. I had these thoughts, you know, that kind of oh, this won't be able to sustain you. You won't be able to, you know, there were a lot of I had a lot of negative let's say information that had sinked in inside of me, you know. Yeah, it took a little while for it to sink in to realize that this is a job that I can do and I can make it work. So
And
it was,
also,
yeah.
you have your apparel business too, so you've got like
Yes.
two incomes.
Yes. But here's the thing, we're freelancers. That's how I see it. I'm a freelancer, right? So there are times where the apparel business would be busy and there are times where it wouldn't. And the thing is that with dance, the more I trained, the more I realized that there was more for me to learn. But it reached the point where I had so little help here in the design studio that I stopped training. At some point, I stopped moving. It all came to a stop, and then I wasn't well in so many ways.
So I was going to ask you, although diversifying your talents actually worked for you in real life because they were kind of supporting each other, right? But they were actually sometimes competing with each other for your time.
Absolutely. Yes.
Ah, okay.
And at the end of the day, we have to think about why are we doing certain things, right? What are we getting out of what we're doing? Because when you are in this line of work and you're an artist and you're creative, you're driven by love. It's not just a paycheck. There's a reason I left the corporate industry, right? I wasn't happy anymore. I wasn't being able to create like the artist. I wasn't representing who I was as a creative person, right? So when the time came and I was so overwhelmed because you know, I had to cut corners and I had to do so much on my own. When I stopped moving, I was feeling physical pain. I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy at all. And then at some point I was diagnosed, and I didn't know this, but I had complex PTSD from early childhood, right? And dance was keeping me healthy mentally. So
Amazing.
not moving was to my detriment. And then when I realized how bad it was for me to only focus on design work, I was like, I can't do this anymore. This is not healthy.
Okay, that was the point.
Mm-hmm.
And then you made the decision to slow it down, and that led to that shift.
Well, I didn't make the decision to slow it down. There was Amazon, Temu, Shein. So decisions were made for me. Yeah. And people were also struggling financially. And I need to respect that.
You know, so listeners, you know, with business and, you know, Despina, she diversified. And even in that, there are ebbs and flows. There, you know, hard times, good times, busy times, boring times, right?
Yeah.
So it happens. But my question for you is, what did diversifying, having these little businesses, or what did it teach you about income, about stability, about longevity? Did it teach you anything?
Yes. Number one, I had to accept the fact like that I am a freelancer. So instead of saying that I am a designer, I'm a freelancer. So I had to see myself as somebody that picks up projects. So that was very helpful,
Okay.
right? So it doesn't matter if I'm being hired to teach a session, right? To teach classes, or if I get hired to to design for someone, right? When I get the work, I need to block out that time and not let other things that I specialize in kind of push that work aside. You need to respect everything that you specialize in.
Does money or date, like when you have to have something done by, is that
Mhm.
how you prioritize all these projects?
For me, it's seasonal.
Oh, okay.
It's a lot of times it's seasonal. Like being aware of when are my slow times when it
Mm,
comes to the design work, right?
got it.
So maybe I'm able to do more with dance during specific months of the year because that's when it's slower when it comes to the design work,
Got
right?
it.
And
Got it.
people not shopping,
Got it.
right?
Yeah.
So I know my busiest design time of the year, right, is when I'm right getting ready, let's say, for Art of the Belly. That's when I know that I have to be careful and have know that a lot of my mental like energy, my physical, like what I'm doing is getting ready for this festival. So yeah, that's really important. The other thing is to document, and this took a while to do this, but I have a documentation. I'm keeping track of pretty much every single thing, right? Every single thing. So it's every expense, like how much am I spending in production for fabrics? And then how much time am I investing of my own time, right? How much am I investing in like graphics for the design business? But then when we go into dance, how about studio space, rehearsal time,
Right.
the rentals for teaching, rentals for privates? How much are you investing in training, right? How
Yeah.
much there is so much. I have to say that when you are in this world of like freelance and
Yes.
you're doing so much, you have to be willing to do a lot of work.
All the work.
Yes. Yes.
Did you like, so it's just recently or the past few years that you learned to know your numbers, what you're making
Yes.
and what you're putting out? I personally used to get so mad at myself, like, damn it, why didn't I do this 5 years earlier? But you
Hmm.
can't. It's the journey we have to go through. It's when we learn, right?
Yes.
How about you? Like, do you take things like, oh, okay, I'm learning, great, or do you get mad about it?
Oh, at this point, I do get mad. I do get
Mm,
mad. I have to be honest. But on the other hand, we have to remind ourselves of our accomplishments across the board. So not just the numbers, but what else have we done? Like for instance, I'm sure you see when you have how many instructors under you representing your brand, right?
right.
That's a huge accomplishment. That is a huge accomplishment. And when I look at my design work and I see people wearing my styles like from so many different places, and dancers in our belly dance world that represent different styles of belly dance, right? That's what I try to do to kind of take away that anger, is to see that and just try to get better at what I'm doing. And also understanding that I'm still restructuring. It's been, I would say, it's going to be 2 years in September, even though I started teaching like years ago. But I would say it's 2 years since I officially decided to turn this into an actual like business. I have my Excel sheets. I'm running those numbers. I'm like looking at things. What's growing, what's not growing, what's working and what's not working.
Good for you.
And it's a huge gamble with dance classes. It really is.
Hmm.
It depends on It's also popularity. How many people know you? Right now, I feel like a lot of what I do is word of mouth,
Mm-hmm.
right? And sometimes I happen to have people that will come across my website and find me and they'll take a class and then it's great when they become steady students, right?
Yeah.
But it is hard to put that information out there.
Yeah.
It really is.
It's vulnerable, I think, and you don't
Mhm.
want, you want people to like you, right?
Yes, you do. You do.
So, Despina, if someone
Yes.
listening now, right now, to this conversation has a skill outside of their dance, outside of their teaching, right? And they're thinking, dude, I can make this a business perhaps.
Hmm.
What would you tell them before they start?
Number one, if they already have a job and they're teaching, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would say just ask them, how deep is your love? I would ask them, right? How
Yeah.
right? It's because you're adding more onto your schedule, right? And at that point it's not just the money that's driving it, it's also the love of sacrificing more time in your life, and it could be taking away from family time. It could be taking away from spending time with your significant other, right? It could mean taking away from your focus. You have to figure out how much do you love it, and can you cut corners on something else that you're doing.
Sure.
Research the market. Is this something that makes sense to go into? Try to look into forecasting. What are the where do you see, if you're this industry, what you're trying to go into? Like, is it growing? Is there a trend? Don't just look at what other people are doing, right? Because sometimes we compare ourselves too much. Look at your potential, let's say, customers. Who are
Yeah.
you talking? Who are you talking to? Who are you planning to talk to? But think about, does this business require for you to start a new social media account? Do you need to put advertising out? Do you need to do photo shoots? Do you need to, there I can go on and on. But think about how many little jobs you have to do to create that new job,
Mm-hmm.
because there's never one thing,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or maybe there could be one thing, right? But just
Yeah.
really analyze what you're trying to get into. Figure out what you're doing, how many tasks it's going to give you, how many things are you going to put on your plate in order to be able to achieve that?
And if you're willing to, and once you find out, are you willing to do
Yes.
it?
Are you willing to do it?
So, Despina, can you tell our listeners where they can find you if they want to find your apparel and take a class from you?
Okay, so for the apparel collection, you can go to DWeb Designs, DWEBB Designs.com. And I currently have an Etsy shop. So, but if there's something specifically you want, just email me. And then for classes, you can find me at despinadance.com, DESPINA.com, despinadance.com. And I teach in Manhattan and in Queens, in Astoria.
Wonderful. I'm going to put all that in the show notes too. Thank you so much for coming on to the podcast. I learned so much about you as a person, about your life, your business. So cool, by the way. And
Thank you.
and I wanted to know if you would like to take us out with our signature outro.
All right, folks, thank you for joining us today, and get out there, kick some ass, and do what you love.
Yes, I love that. Thank you.
Thank you, Arit, for having me. I really appreciate it.